Terry Brands, assistant coach of Iowa. What's it like to be here in Murraysville, Pennsylvania?
I like coming back and seeing esteemed alum Jody Strittmatter. I love it. He does a great job, and it's fun to coach kids that are vested into the sport, and
Sure.
they work hard and they love the battles and the fights and the technique, and you can't beat it.
How was the morning session with the guys here for Young Guns?
It was good, as always. Yeah, it was good. It was a good workout, and Jody has these guys, and John, they have these guys so versed in the sport of wrestling anyway, that you come in and you don't have to spend a lot of time on the the real tight basics. You can get right into some of the counter offensive front headlocks without having to start from ground zero, and it makes it a lot more fun for them, where they're not bored off their mind and going back doing things that they've seen years and years and years ago. But you can kind of add on to the fundamentals and get to places pretty quick that are fun to do, and places in your wrestling that you can start to add a personal stamp to it.
Now, some familiar faces here. Michael Kemmerer, who's now an Iowa Hawkeye, back at his home high school here.
Yep.
What's it like to see Michael back here training?
It's great. It's fun to walk in here and see him, and then there he is, and you just saw him. He left Iowa City on Friday morning, and I love Mike. You know his character, his work ethic, his upbringing, his aspirations in the level of wrestling that he's trying to accomplish, and he's just an infectious guy to be around. He brings a lot of really, really good things to our program, and not just in the wrestling arena, but with the academics and his social skills and the way he carries himself outside of our program. So he's awesome. He's a great ambassador already as a young first-year kid.
For you, this isn't a new territory. You've been here before, but Pennsylvania and Iowa, the pipeline has definitely extended, I would say, in the last few years. You had guys like Mike Evans and Josh Jeva, but now you have Michael Kemmerer, Caleb Young's committed now. Talk about that pipeline with Western Pennsylvania, specifically with Jody Strittmatter.
Well, you have an alum, you have a person who I coached, who's coaching these guys, and he understands that, there's a lot of, let's just be fair and honest about things. There's a lot of knocks or, things on our program that, we're not technical and we're not this and we're not that. And the bottom line is that Jody's been through it, so he knows the truth. He knows really what being at Iowa is like. It's very individual, tailored. It's not like we take guys and mold them only a certain way. Those are all just things that people say for whatever reason. But the bottom line is that Jody had a great experience there. And I don't know why he keeps saying this, but he does keep saying this, and he says that I was a big part of that. So now I'm coaching back at Iowa again. It only makes sense that he's comfortable in sending some of his people our way. And the other side of that is that we're really comfortable receiving them, because I know Jody's character. I know how he trained. I know how he approached the sport. I know how he woke up and came to our room every single day, because I was there, and I was in a really intricate, detailed coaching part of his development there. And so it works both ways. I think he's comfortable. He knows that we're not going to burn his guys, and he knows the truth and the true aspects of our sport. And we're very comfortable when he recommends a guy, and okay, well, let's look into it and get moving forward. And don't forget that we had Rich Catalano and Ray Brinzer.
Ray Brinzer, yeah.
So we're going back to the the 90s there, and like you said, Evans and Josh Jeva, and Mike Evans is back with us now. He's going to be with our club now. Spent a year at Cal Poly, and back in Iowa City, and rolling with our guys again, and he's a Harrisburg area.
He is, yeah.
Who ended up his senior year in Blair, but he's a great PA ambassador and a talent and a guy that people know, and did a good job for us. I know he didn't reach the potential he wanted to there, but it's good stuff.
You talked about guys coming back to the Iowa Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and one thing that came up was the Olympics this year and Daniel Dennis.
Yes.
How special was it for you to watch Daniel Dennis blossom into where he is right now?
Well, it's really not a short blossom. You know, I mean, when you look at it, he stepped away and he was gone for a couple of years and he came back and made the Olympic team. You know, that's really the way they're saying it. But there's a lot of, you know, it's like they say the iceberg, all the work that's going on. You see the beauty of the iceberg, and what's going on under the ocean is the rumbling and the tumbling and that's where really all the beauty comes from up top, is the underneath, the chaos and, the things that are going on there. So with Dennis, that's really how it was, is he was so close to being a national champion and lost in that tremendous effort by, Ness at the end and being able to not only take the match into overtime, which was a task in itself, but, getting the near fall. We're not going to relive that. But so that was a part of Daniel's life that really he's still dealing with. And making the Olympic team is a big part in moving on from that. You're never going to forget that. It's part of you. It molds you. It makes you who you are a little bit. But it doesn't define you. And so this Olympic quest that he's on has been really, really healthy for him. And, whether he made the team or not, it was the right thing to do. And it was something that Tom and I had talked about and kind of knew that he was going to come back. He just had to go find himself again and get away from Iowa and, let his spirit and his mind calm down and come back. And he was in a really, really healthy spot, very calm, very quiet, and able to do some things to a guy that was a two-time world team member before him, who was also a Hawkeye, and Tony Ramos. Yeah. So, that says a lot about, our program, number one, and says a lot about Daniel Dennis also, and a lot about Tony Ramos.
Spencer Lee has been a big part of training Daniel Dennis, and not a lot of people know about this. How is it that came about, that Spencer and Daniel became friends and they got the training?
Spencer, when last year we were out at the World Camp in Colorado Springs, and Spencer was training for, his quest at winning his second World Championship, and which he accomplished. And so we're at USA Wrestling, and Daniel Dennis needs a workout partner, and Spencer needs a workout partner. So, they kind of got together, and, you're at a world team training camp. And so it made sense. And, you know how tough Spencer is. And they went, and, Dennis comes off the mat, wide-eyed. Like, holy smokes, I just hit a hurricane. And, Spencer loves that too. He loves those challenges. So, it was a win for both of them. They both got better. They both persevered through it. So, when USA Wrestling was calling about, what Daniel wanted to do with his training partner situation for Rio, it just made sense that, because Spencer challenged Daniel in a lot of the areas that he sees, that he's going to see in the Olympic Games. And better than anybody else he could pick. So, it was a good thing. It was one of those things where, you got the governing body working, and you got some rules that, like Mark Hall went with Jordan Burroughs last year as his training partner. So it's not like we're in, uncharted waters. There's a precedent's been set, and, you're within the rules and things. And so it's been really, really healthy for both guys.
How does Spencer fare against a guy like Daniel Dennis? I mean,
he's solid. I mean, he knows, and I think you know the answer to that. And does he win every situation? No. Does he get his tail kicked in every situation? No. And it's fun to watch because he's Daniel's the same way. He's a never say die wrestler, and so when you get him in those heated exchanges, it's very, very fun to watch that occur. And then also think about the level of wrestling that you're able to attain by having a workout partner that just never gives up any situation ever. And so it's very, very infectious for the program, the USA Wrestling program. And it's a grassroots situation where you have a junior and a cadet level kid coming up through wrestling with the senior guys. He wrestled, with Tomasello last year, and even other guys out of Jody's program have been out world teams, and things of that nature. So it happens. It happens a lot. Like I said, the Valencia brothers down at Arizona State, wrestle a lot with the last year's world team members and things like that. And it's good for both sides. It's good for the senior level. It's good for our junior cadet level.
Keeps that hungry, that fresh young kid, keeps him in check, but it also helps the senior level guy know that he's one of the best.
For sure, and it's really the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, Gable, philosophy was about that. Even before, when I was at USA Wrestling, we worked really, really hard to implement, synonymous training camps with the juniors and the cadets with the seniors, and that was kind of a foreign thing, and even funding trips for the cadets and the juniors was a foreign thing. And with our coaches council, we worked hard to push that through, and we met a lot of resistance with USA Wrestling and the organization on that, and actually people saying, what are we going to do, pay $30,000 to have guys go 0-1? And I was like, yeah, because it's better than going 0-1 at the Olympics, and you're starting to see that, and by 2020 you're really going to see it. And it's something that Gable understood back in the mid-'70s when the Hawkeye Wrestling Club was established in 1973. He was an assistant coach at Iowa. And, back then the rules were a little looser, and he would bring in, the Japanese Olympic champion from 1984 and have him wrestle, in the Hawkeye wrestling room for, a year, with the guy who he beat in the finals of the Olympic Games, Barry Davis, who still had eligibility left as a Hawkeye. So for me, it made sense. I was raised that way, and then I was coached that way by Gable, and going to USA Wrestling, which is supposed to be the top of our sport, it made sense to continue to do that even on the national level with our governing body.
You have obviously a lot of experience at the world levels, Olympic bronze medalist. What's special about this year for you, having Daniel Dennis, a former wrestler of yours, and Spencer Lee training him, going down to Rio? What's that like as a coach?
Well, with Daniel Dennis, he's an alumni of our program. So, in 2012 and, 2008, I coached Henry from 05 through 08. And so, him getting the gold medal was a really, really awesome process to watch, to lack of a better way to say it, just because you see the way the kid develops. And Dennis is the same way, to see the way that he's developed and to see the way that he's learned to control his emotions and bring his mindset and develop that elite level mindset and make his physical and his mental and his emotional pieces all come together and fit together. And now he's going to be contending for an Olympic gold medal. It's just a awesome thing to see as a coach. Those are things that you want. We want 6 guys on the team from our program doing that. And, so that coming this close to that goal happening, and time will tell. But we're there, so we qualified. Now what are we going to do about it from here? Well, let's do everything we can about it and, unturn all the stones and find all the solutions to make us the best contender that we can become. So that's been really, really healthy for our program and healthy for Dennis and healthy for the coaching staff. But, in 2012, you're going down there and you're watching. It's still very, very gratifying to see, 2 Americans win Olympic gold medals. And I just remember Jake Varner coming off the mat, and I was almost uncontrollable. And I don't even know Jake Varner. And, Burroughs had won the Worlds a year before in Istanbul, Turkey. And so, you're thinking he's got Sargush early in the quarters, and he beats Sargush, and now he's on a roll. Those are things that, as a coach, that, again, are very gratifying, even though it's a little bit different. You're not as much hands-on involved with their everyday development. But like I said, with Varner, I was almost uncontrollable watching him win that match. And I remember him walking underneath where I was sitting and just, Varner, yeah, and I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. And those are the things that, you want Americans to do. Whether they're from our program or whether they're from another program outside of our own, once you make that Olympic team, we're looking to contend at 6 weight categories in freestyle wrestling, 6 weight categories in women's wrestling, and 6 weight categories in Greco-Roman. Period. That's it.
Spencer Lee's going to his 3rd World Championships, his 2nd Junior World Championships, at the end of this month. So he's going to Rio to train with Dennis, and then he's coming back, turn around, and he's going to France. As a young kid, a 17-year-old kid, what does that do for his level of wrestling ability and his confidence, knowing that, hey, I'm wrestling with the American guy who's representing USA down in Rio?
Well, confidence is funny because you don't need confidence to be successful. Little kids learn to walk and they fall over and knock their teeth out on the coffee table and they still get back up and they don't have any confidence. So, confidence is a funny word to me. So, a guy like Spencer or, any of the other guys that are wrestling with the senior guys and they get the crap kicked out of them, what that does is it hones them. It sharpens them. It measures them. And so this is an important piece of the USA wrestling side of it. I don't really want to comment on Spencer. We all know what I think of Spencer. And, we're hoping for a future there, but I can't comment on that based on the NCAA rules. So, we're going to leave that alone. But just from a generic point of view, he fights. And anybody that steps onto the elite level scene and the senior level and is going to fight, you're going to get better. And he understands that. And that's why he's the best. I mean, he's got 2 world gold medals in his pocket. Let's not forget that. And like you said, he's going for his 3rd gold medal, and this is his 4th team. So that says a lot about the grassroots situation that Jody Strittmatter is creating here in the Pittsburgh area.
How fortunate is it for you to come back and see a guy like Jody Strittmatter be so successful as a coach? You saw him, you coached him as a wrestler, very successful on the mat, but to come back and you see the impact that he's making on kids on a daily basis. What's it like as a coach and as a friend?
He's what our program's about. I mean, he grew up in Pittsburgh area, up in Evansburg and bit Johnstown, and then he came to Iowa, and really that's, no offense to anything else, but that's where his infectious attitude really took root, where he really got, this is what I want to do. That's how I see it. Even though, that was going to happen anyway. But he learned some things at Iowa on that mindset piece that were already part of him that maybe he couldn't explain, and now he can explain them better than anybody in the world. And so he understands. He's taken a piece of Gable. He's taken a piece of Ironside, a piece of, Alger, those great competitors that he was around, Tom and me and Lincoln McElravy and those guys that the Williams brothers, TJ and Joe Williams, how many NCAA championships did I just name there? 20?
20, 30.
Yeah. So, he's taken every bit of the positive knowledge that he learned from all those names and all those pieces, and he's formed his own philosophy, and it's that's what you do. That's what we do. When we send guys out into the real world, whether it's Josh Jeva being the director of ops at Penn, or Mike Evans being at Cal Poly last year, or J.J. Krutzinger out, and you never heard of him, right? Out in Colorado, getting his master's and doing things, setting himself up for the rest of his life with his livelihood. And he's using the skills and the lessons and the things that we talk about every single day in our program. And, getting himself better, making himself better. Now he's in a program in Fort Collins, Colorado at Rocky Mountain High School with a guy that I knew that just came by happenstance. How does that happen? Well, it happens because he was paying attention in our wrestling room. Did he ever wrestle in a Hawkeye singlet? No. But he was in our room, he was fighting, he was doing the same type of things that Thomas Gilman and Corey Clark and Brandon Sorensen and, Nathan Bierak and Sam Stoll and those same things that those guys, those household names are doing every day, he was doing them too. And it's only made for a really healthy situation with Strittmatter's Young Guns Club And the little guys, and that's what I said at the end of camp, you're fortunate. You're in an area where you have John and Jody Strittmatter and their other brother, they really care about you. And they care about your development. They care about your development on the mat, but more importantly, they care about your development as a person. And you can't beat that.
And that's really what you're getting to the crux of it, is you're teaching these guys at Iowa to be not only good wrestlers, but good humans. A contributing factor to society and giving back. And that's exactly what Jody and John do here at the Young Guns Wrestling Club.
Agree, and it goes beyond the mat.
Yes.
The mat's a big part of it. Let's not try to say and underplay it, because getting your hand raised the right way, there's nothing better. And when you learn how to get your hand raised the right way, the other things fall into place, and areas in your life that you maybe never even dreamed that could be, that you could accomplish, they just fall into place.
In terms of you and Tom, pipeline to Pennsylvania, does it feel good to break in and get some of these studs from Pennsylvania? Kemmerer
and some of the guys before him we looked at, and you just didn't really have a glimmer of hope. And so then Morningstar was coming and doing the Young Guns camp, and then the next year, this was a couple of years ago, Jody wanted me to come. I go, yeah, I'm coming. I'll come anytime. All he's got to do is ask me, and I'll come. And they get to know you. The stereotypes kind of disappear. And the more that they're around us and around our program, they understand that, Iowa wrestling is a very, very unique place. I'm not saying we're better than other places, but we're very, very different. And, Mike Kemmerer is a very, very strong ambassador of that. And, name one parent that wouldn't send their kids to be around Mike Kemmerer, right, whether he's in Russia or Iowa or otherwise, right?
Stand-up guy.
Yeah. In their family, the way he was raised, his mom and dad and his siblings, and you don't get a better family than that. And that's what one of the other parents said. I have no problem sending my kid to Iowa, because we know what Mike says, and we know that Mike, what kind of a kid he is, and part of that is because of Jody.
Looking ahead in the future, I'm just brainstorming. I see a nice connection here that could bear a lot of fruit for Iowa. It's got to be exciting for you to come back to see Jody and to know that there's potential to continue that relationship and seeing that infectious attitudes that Mike Kemmerer brings back to those guys at Franklin Regional in the area. Is that something that you look forward to in the future?
Yeah, for sure. And you're kind of, no offense to you, but you're kind of pushing me a little bit beyond my comfort level right now because of the NCAA rules. So just from the generic or the broad, the airplane view, we love it here, and we always have loved it here. And now we're, because of our involvement with Jody becoming closer again with his program, like I said earlier, they get to know you.
On a personal level.
Yeah, and I can be funny. I got an okay.
People see you on TV, and they see the Iowa.
Yeah.
They know the stereotype, the Iowa style. But until you actually sit down with Terry Brands and Tom Brands,
yeah, right.
You get to know the Hawkeyes in their true sense.
Yeah,
right?
and we got an okay personality. I'm not going to pat myself on the back too much, but I've been married for 19 years. My wife hasn't left me yet.
Not yet, right?
And so she wakes up every morning next to me, and she makes it work. So we're like, well, hey, she makes it work for 19 years. You guys can make it work for 5.
Right. Sure.
No, in all seriousness, we're very, very serious about our wrestling, and we're very serious about lifestyle. And we do have a unique program, and we do have a different program, but it's a good program. And when you come into our program and you're about doing things the correct way, the hard way, then you're going to get along just fine here or in Iowa City. So, that's awesome. And that's a testament to them, to the guys that are in our program. That's a testament to them. Not everybody, we don't recruit the best talent all the time, because not every guy is going to make it there. And we know that. And so we're okay with that.
Right. Well, Pennsylvania is full of a lot of hardworking guys,
Yeah.
as you know, so we're glad to see you here in Pennsylvania. And I know Jody is as well, so we appreciate you taking the time out and speaking with us.
I appreciate you also, and, go Young Guns.
That's right.
All right.
Spencer Lee, it's been a wild summer in 2016, has it not for you?
This is the busiest I've ever been. Usually I'm finished around this time. I was already a world champion, and I had the rest of the summer to kind of like hang out with my friends and, go down wherever I wanted to go. But this summer's been a little busier, so I got that out of the way earlier. Remember, I had like 3 weeks off, and now I'm just right into everything, one thing after another.
Now, this year is especially different for you because it's an Olympic year, but you're going to the Olympics. How special or how awesome is that you actually are going to Rio?
I mean, I still don't think I've yet to fathom.
It hasn't sunk in yet.
To me, it's kind of like, okay, cool. To me, it's like I'm not competing, whatever, because I want to be the guy competing in the Olympics. But I still don't understand, because you watch it on TV. I think it'd be really a lot cooler to see athletes achieve their dream in person.
Now, how did this come about? You going to the Olympics and training Daniel Dennis. How did that relationship start with you and Daniel?
Well, I met him. He was just coming back to the open scene.
Took some time off.
And I didn't really know who he was. I remember watching him in the national finals, but I didn't really remember entirely. I remember his face. He was shaved then, obviously.
Yeah.
College. He had a big beard. And he just went up to me and said, "Hey, try and gut wrench me." And I was like, "All right." I know who he was, so I went and I tried to gut wrench him. I actually turned him, and he got up and was like, "We're going again." So I went down. I didn't turn him, and then I went down. And he just rolled me up, and then he's like, "All right, we're partners next session." I was like, "Okay, cool." I know who he was, so I'm like, "Okay." I go to the session, and he just kills me, absolutely kills me. But for some reason, liked the way I wrestled or liked the way I was. And we've kind of formed a relationship after that, and he's been super friendly since then. And I called my dad, and I got back to my dorm, and I was like, "Who's Daniel Dennis?" I was like, he's gonna make the world team this year. I was like, he's a freak, make the world team. I was like, I wrestled all the other guys, he's better, and he almost did. He lost to Reese Humphrey in the finals, took second, and then the next year, I heard he's going to 57. I told my dad, I said, he's making the Olympic team, he's gonna make it, and he remembered me, and we kind of formed a relationship, kept in touch a little bit, best you can, rules. But and he made a team, and I was excited. And I think a week later, he called me, got my number. It's, "Hey, this is Daniel Dennis." He's like, "How would you like to be my partner to, Olympics?" And I was kind of like, "Yeah, sweet." I didn't really understand that. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be your partner." He's like, you have to come help train with me at the Olympic Training Center. You have to come to the Olympics and help warm me up and stuff. So we kind of formed this relationship, and I love the guy. He's awesome.
When he called you and said, "Hey, do you want to try?" I mean, this is Olympian. And he's asking you, a high school going into your senior season to go train him in the Olympics. I mean, were you honored, humbled?
I mean, like I said, I didn't understand it at the time. But the more I see it, the more, it is humbling.
Yeah.
To know that, there's someone at that high of a level, somewhere I want to be one day, who's asking a high school wrestler, "Hey, maybe one day, maybe I do the same thing. I form a relationship with some high school wrestler. He's, up and coming."
What's been the most beneficial part of training with someone like Daniel Dennis?
It's just it shows you that man strength. In high school, I don't really get overpowered by anybody, even if I don't cut weight. Wrestling someone like that who's just that strong and that physical, and he's been through a college season, 5 years in college. He's been on the open circuit. He's beating guys ranked in the world. He's come close to beating guys 1 and 2 in the world. You just don't see guys like that very often. You can't get a better partner than that. He's our Olympian.
What are you looking forward to most traveling with the team? Seeing how, because you've been to 3 world championships, you're going for a 4th. You've been to those areas, but what are you looking forward to most going to the Olympics and seeing sort of behind the scenes, I guess?
Well, you always kind of wonder, how does a Michael Phelps or Jordan Burroughs, what do they do leading up to it? What is their training plan? What do they eat? How do they sleep? They take naps. You kind of want to almost emulate later, because not many people can say they've experienced an Olympics. That's another thing, because I've heard the atmosphere is just so different, and you're just like it's almost overwhelming, and it's gonna be almost an advantage for me to already have seen it and hopefully make a team later in my life. So
2020 is not that far away. You'll be 21. You'll be in your third year in school. Is this something that you see yourself doing down the road? I mean, this is what you strive to do? I mean,
I have 2 age group world titles. I'm obviously going for a third this year, but going for a senior world title, hopefully in the near future, and then an Olympic title is ultimately my dream.
And this is a step in that direction. I mean, being asked to, and
it can't hurt it, right?
Right, it can't. I mean, are you looking at that in that sense that, hey, I'm that closer? I was invited to come train, and does it give you the confidence?
I mean, and you wrestle with the guy who's the Olympian, so you kind of know where you're at or where you need to be, because he's the best, and it's cool.
I mean, do you feel like you're going to be, if say Daniel does well? I mean, you feel like you're a part of that process.
I want to do everything I can for him to do the best.
So your goal is going down is just doing the best you can to help Daniel reach his ultimate goal, which is a gold medal.
I mean, yeah, of course. I want to help him the best I can win. If I have to do something to help him win, and it helps him win, I'm going to do it. But ultimately, it's a win-win for me both ways. If he wins, I've been training with the Olympic champion. But if it's just the opportunity, like I said, it's humbling because he's the best guy in America, and we'll see how he does on the world stage.
Now, you have a quick turnaround from the Olympic Games to the Junior Worlds, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make you a little anxious that you're going from Rio to Colorado to France?
Well, I mean, like I said, I can't get any better training.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to be with my future college coaches, so they're obviously going to want the best for me, and obviously they're going to be selfish to Dennis because he's the Olympian. I got the best guy in our country wrestling with me. Mm-hmm. Whether the practice is geared towards him, I'm still working on what the Olympian's working on. Ultimately, that's going to help me with what I need to work on.
Right.
So it's a win-win. Everything's a win-win. I get to help a friend of mine out at the Olympic Games. I get to train, be the best I can, and I can go straight from the best training opportunity that I can get this year straight to my world championship so I can win a third world title. The only disadvantage to it is I don't get to be home and see friends.
Right.
Like I said, I already did that.
Yeah.
I got to be a kid a little bit because you have to.
Right.
Like earlier you came here, I would shoot my bow for 2 hours. I have hobbies.
Right. You're a human.
Yeah, exactly. People think I just eat, wrestle, sleep. Like that's all I do. But
right.
I like to do other stuff too. So.